Hey guys, this video is for solving equations with distribution. We're still solving equations. All we're doing is kind of adding that distribution piece or using distributive property. So remember, our goal anytime we're solving equations is to find the value of the variable. Nothing's changed in that regard, right? That's still our goal every time. Whatever the variable is in the equation, we want to get it alone, isolate it so we know the value of it. And then just a quick reminder, the word distribute, we learned about this when we talked about properties. We talked about distributive property, but it means to share something. We talked in class about how, like, when I pass papers out to the class, I'm distributing papers. So that same kind of idea. And there's two ways that we can solve equations with distribution. So as we do the examples, I'm going to show you both ways, and then you guys can make a decision for yourselves on which way is easier for you. And there may be some problems where one way is easier and the other way is not, and you just have to make that decision. So there's two ways to solve them. Okay, and the first one is to use distributive property or distribute first. And the second way is to divide first. And once we do some sample problems, those are both going to make more sense. So as we go through and do these sample problems, I'm going to do one of each. So we'll do the problem and I'll show you what it looks like when we distribute first, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we divide first. And then, like I said, you can make a decision on what works best for you. So the first problem we're going to do is 3 times 2x plus 4 equals 60. Now, remember, this means, like, if I were to say this or translate it to words, I would say 3 times 2 times x plus 4. Oh, sorry guys, wrong 4. I'm just going to write the letter, okay? And when they're written in the parentheses like this, right, that means we have to multiply this 3 times everything inside. So if we were going to distribute first, we would do the same thing we've been doing. We would draw our line, and we would distribute this 3 to every piece inside the parentheses. And if you remember when we learned about distributive property, we circled our terms with the sign in front of them. So we have 2x and plus 4 and 3. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can distribute. I'm going to use the rainbow method because it seems to be easiest. But we're going to multiply that 3. Remember, the parentheses mean to multiply. So we do 3 times 2x, which is 6x. And then we do 3 times positive 4, which is positive 12. So on this side now, we have 6x plus 12. And on this side, we have 60. Now, when we're solving, remember, we try to keep things balanced. The reason we're not multiplying by 3 on this side as well is because we didn't add anything new over here, right? That stuff was all already there. We're not taking anything away. We're not adding anything new. So all we're doing is simplifying that side. So when you distribute first, right, you're going to want to simplify and then solve. And sorry guys, I'm going to move that over up here. So when we want to distribute first, we simplify and then solve. And that simplify piece was just the distributing. So now I have 6x plus 12 equals 60. Now it's just a two-step equation. I have 6 times x plus 12. So I have multiplication happening and addition. I'm going to undo whatever's easiest, which is this addition for me. When I do that, I'm left with 6x equals, and 60 minus 12 is 48. If you don't know that, get a calculator. And now I have 6 times x. Well, to undo multiplication, I use division. I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides, and I get x equals 8. Remember, if I wasn't sure on that answer, I could always evaluate, and I could plug this 8 back in and then work through the problem to see if it's correct. So that's when we distribute first. Sorry, I'm going to erase these arrows here. Okay, that's when we distribute first. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like when we divide first. So we're going to take that same problem. I'll switch colors here. So distributing first will be in black and dividing first. We'll put those problems in red so you guys know which one's happening. So we have 3 times 2x plus 4 equals 60. So I'm going to draw my line. Okay, but this means the same thing that it meant before. 3 times 2x plus 4. Now, notice that this is multiplication happening right here. That is multiplication. And I can undo that multiplication with division. So I can divide both sides by 3. Now, the reason I have to divide both sides by 3 is I'm doing something that wasn't already here, right? When we were distributing, this multiplication was already there. We didn't add anything new. But this division is new. We're introducing it, so we have to do it to both sides. When you do that, 3 divided by 3 is 1, so these 3's actually just cancel out, and you're left with 2x plus 4 equals 60 divided by 3 is 20. Now we can solve it like a two-step equation. We have multiplication happening right here, and then addition. So we're going to undo the addition with subtraction. And then we have 2x, make my line a little longer, equals 20 minus 4 is 16. Now we have multiplication, 2 times x. We undo that by dividing, and we get x equals 8. So we get the same answer either way, we just did a different process. And like I said, you can make a decision on what works best for you in your brain, right? Let's do a couple more examples. So we're going to distribute first. We're going to do this problem. Okay, if you want to try this on your own, now would be a great time to pause the video. Try it using distributing first. So we want to distribute first. And even if you wanted, you could jump ahead and try to divide first. So try them on your own, and then you can come back and check your answers. Okay, so when we solve this, we're going to draw our line. We're distributing first here, and we're going to go through and circle our terms. Positive 2 is that term. There's nothing in front of it, so we assume it's positive. 5x is a term, and 10x is a term. And notice it's a positive 10x because of that plus sign. So we do 2 times 5x is 10x, and 2 times 10 is 20. So we get 2x plus 20 equals 50. We didn't introduce anything new. All we did was simplified, and we multiplied this 2 because that's what this parenthesis means. Now I have multiplication and addition happening. It's easiest to undo that addition first with subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. That makes this 0. And I'm left with 10x equals 30. Now, to undo multiplying by 10, I divide by 10. And x equals 30 divided by 10. Well, those zeros cancel out, and you're actually just left with 3. So we got x equals 3. Now let's try that with dividing first. So we have 2 sides to our equation, and we're going to divide by 2, so we're introducing that division, so we have to do it to both sides. Those 2's cancel out to be 1, and we're just left with 5x plus 10 equals, and 50 divided by 2 is 25. Now we have 5 multiplied by x plus 10. we've got to undo the multiplication and the addition, and it's easiest now for us to start with that addition because it's not tied to the x. So we subtract by 10, or excuse me, subtract 10 from both sides. 10 minus 10 is 0, so those are gone. And we get 5x equals 25 minus 10 is 15. To undo multiplying by 5, we divide by 5. We do it on both sides, and we get x equals 15 divided by 5 is 3. And if you're not sure on your answers, please double check with a calculator. Use a calculator, double check your work. Okay, so we're gonna do one more example because you guys are going to see fractions, and I know you're all like, oh no, fractions. Okay, but they're not bad, so we're gonna walk through an example. Let me just add a page here. Okay, so we're just gonna walk through another example. We're gonna divide first for this one. And we're going to, oh wait, I think I did that backwards. I think we've been doing, let's double check. Okay, we've been doing the distribute first in black. So we're going to distribute. My goodness, guys, sorry. Distribute first. And then we're gonna show one where we divide first. And the problem that we're going to do is 1/2 multiplied by 2x plus 4 equals 40. Same problem, right? I'm going to show you both ways. And you can decide what's easier. If you want to try this on your own, go ahead, pause the video, come back and double check your work. Okay, so when we distribute first, right, we need to first simplify the equation. So an easy way to do that is to say, hey, I'm going to cover up this equal sign, like pretend that's covered up, right? Cover it up and just deal with the one side first and see if there's a way to simplify it. And then you can go over and say, hey, did I simplify the other side? So I'm going to draw my line. And now we're going to simplify this side of the line. And we have 1/2 as a term, and we have to share that with 2x and 4. Okay, so when we do that, we multiply, right? The parentheses mean to multiply. And because it's already telling us to multiply and we're not adding anything new, we only have to do that to this side. So 1/2 times 2, you can punch in a calculator, but it's going to give you 1x. And 1/2 times positive 4 is positive 2. So now we have 1x plus 2, which is really just, right, that's the same thing as x plus 2. And that equals, and 40, there's no way to simplify it, so 40 is still just 40. Now we have x plus 2 equals 40. The only operation, this is like a one step now, is this add 2. So to undo adding 2, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And we get x equals 40 minus 2 is 38. And that is the solution. Let's try and see what it looks like with the dividing. When we divide to get rid of this guy. So we are going to draw our line. There's still two sides. We're going to divide by 1/2. So guys, now this says 1/2 times 2x plus 4 divided by 1/2. We're going to divide by 1/2 on both sides because we're introducing this division. We added this line right here. Before we didn't add the parentheses, they were already there. So whatever we add, we have to do to both sides. Now, 1/2 divided by 1/2, even though it looks really weird because it's a fraction divided by a fraction, is still just 1. Any number divided by itself is 1. So they cancel out, and you get 2x plus 4 equals, and you might want to grab a calculator for this. I'll actually open mine up because I don't think you guys are going to believe me when I tell you what the answer is. So we now have 1/2. Oh, sorry guys, I don't know what's happening here. Okay, so we have 40 divided by 1/2, and my calculator, the one that you guys can see, doesn't do fractions. So we're going to change that just to 0.5, but it means the same thing. So we're going to do 40 divided by 0.5. And if you use the calculators in class, we have the fraction button, so you can actually just type that fraction in. And we get 80. So now we have 2x plus 4 equals 80. And now this is a two-step equation. We have multiplication happening here and addition. We're going to undo whatever's easiest first, and since this 4 is kind of separate, it's going to be easiest. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. We're left with 2 times x equals 80 minus 4 is 76. And now we just have to undo multiplying by 2. We do that with dividing by 2, and we get x equals, and 76 divided by 2, we'll pull our handy dandy calculator back up. 76 divided by 2 is 38. So we got x equals 38. So we got the same answer. We get the same answer either way we do it. And you guys can decide what works better for you. There are going to be some problems where the division is easier, and there are going to be some problems where the distributing works easier. You guys get to make that decision. So that is how we solve equations with distribution.